Well, it has happened. Tulsi Gabbard has made an announcement that over 10,000 files of RFK Sr.'s assassination was released by the Trump administration, as Tulsi Gabbard insists that today is a big day. So, breaking news, there's probably going to be a little bit more to this story, but I think it's only fair that we do address what is being presented before us. We actually have video. Huge shout out to my audience for letting me know. This is why Hardlands Media loves its people who follow us on Discord or use that follow us on all our social media, because I always get that knock at the door, the check this out. So without further ado, since I'm in charge of the ones and twos, let's go ahead and pull this up here. Again, this has to deal with RFK Sr.'s assassination files being released. So let's go on and play this now.
News alert, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard releasing files pertaining to the 1968 assassination of RFK. Just moments ago, this came out public. Tulsi Gabbard joins us now. Great to see you, Madam Director.
Nice to see you, Brian.
You've taken 10,000 pages. You found them in boxes. You put them online. What can you tell us? They say they caught you maybe by surprise, or we'll find the most interesting.
Well, Brian, first of all, this came about because President Trump promised the American people that his administration would be one of maximum transparency. And one of the first things that he did when he came back into the Oval Office was issue an executive order that said we need to release all the documents that we have unredacted on the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. So we did the initial release of the previously never had been unredacted documents related to President Kennedy's assassination. And what we have just released here today is 10,000 pages that have been sitting in boxes within the National Archives that had never been digitized or viewed publicly before. These are documents related to the government's investigation into the assassination, documents related to discussions that were going on in other countries, State Department cables around the assassination, and a lot of the questions and theories that were being posed throughout this investigation. But I think a lot of people, most people have never seen before. The significance of this is huge. It's been nearly 60 years since Senator Kennedy was assassinated. We're obviously not stopping here. We discovered 10,000 pages at National Archives. We sent people out to hunt through different warehouses at the FBI and CIA, knowing there are likely other documents that have not yet been turned over to National Archives. And I tell you, just the other day, we discovered over 50,000 additional pages solely around Senator Kennedy's assassination that we have over 100 people at National Archives going through and scanning. And that will be the second release.
So, all right, let's be clear, because there's two videos that came out. This is breaking news, and I think it's only fair that we do share this. Look, the assassination of RFK Sr. was, hold on, sorry about that, folks, was a major historic event. And I think it's only fair that as we do cover this story, as we do cover this segment, and that we look at every single aspect of what will be in these files. Now, the JFK files left much to be desired for. The Epstein files, which were also being covered by the Trump administration, was an absolute abysmal joke, because those were files that we already knew. One would think, like, hey, here's what happened, because I just want to remind everybody, you know, there was a more in-depth conversation that took place, and it was none other than done by like 2 or 3 years ago on Mike Tyson's podcast. Now, the YouTube video in which he was interviewing RFK Jr. about the assassination of his father was taken down. Now, it's still up on the other social media platforms. I don't know why it was terminated off of YouTube when it was there for such a long time, but here we are. Now, it is fascinating that a lot of this stuff has now been found, but will there be a smoking gun? Will we get an example of, well, first of all, the bullet shots don't really add up, how RFK Sr. was taken care of, overall, the weird assessments and the aftermath of said assassination, things aren't adding up. Things never made sense. And very similar to like JFK's assassination, RFK Sr.'s assassination was also heavily covered up to where it makes everyone wonder, why all the lies? Why all the cover up? Why all the secrecy? Why cover things up and not address it? I want to just fast forward just a little bit further into this. So I want to pull up this video. Sorry again for the delays, folks. So let's go ahead and pull this up here. Load up.
It's been nearly 60 years since Senator Kennedy was assassinated. We're obviously not stopping here. We discovered 10,000 pages at National Archives. We sent people out to hunt through different warehouses at the FBI and CIA, knowing there are likely other documents that have not yet been turned over to National Archives. And I tell you, just the other day, we discovered over 50,000 additional pages solely around Senator Kennedy's assassination, that we have over 100 people at National Archives going through and scanning, and that will be the second release that we'll have here shortly.
So the Ambassador Hotel is where it took place. Sirhan Sirhan is the one serving life sentence for the murder, a Palestinian immigrant, mad apparently, of the president, of the senator and presidential candidates' loyalty to Israel. And this is what RFK Jr., who's now HHS secretary, said in 2018. He said, I went there because I was curious and disturbed by what I had seen in the evidence. I was disturbed that the wrong person might have been convicted of killing my father. My father was the chief law enforcement officer in the country. I think it would have been disturbed him if someone was put in jail for a crime they didn't commit. And he indicated that there might have been a second gunman. You told him these documents were coming out. Did he indicate to you that he thought there might have been somebody else involved?
You know, Secretary Kennedy had the opportunity to review these documents before the release occurred. But as you point out there in his quote, he's already spent a lot of time, as you can imagine, throughout his life trying to seek the truth here. And what you'll find, and as folks go to archives.gov/RFK, they will see a number of documents that really support the questions that Secretary Kennedy has been asking for decades around who really killed his father. There, for example, was a woman who ran away from the scene of the shooting yelling, "We got him." She yelled, "We shot him. We shot him." There are other documents there. I mentioned State Department cables that showed different countries were sending messages to each other around
Well, of course they'd be sending different messages to each other because, hey, whoa, RFK was shot. Like that's a pretty big deal. They're going to be saying a lot of things. Remember, with the JFK files that came out earlier this year, remember, some new things were dropped. Nothing explosive, no smoking gun, no pun intended. But you had the Soviets kind of say to the USA, hey guys, listen, time out for a second. I know you don't like us because we're communists, woogie boogie boogie. You know, we don't like you either, capitalists, woogie boogie boogie. But this dude right here, he seems a little bit off the kilter. Just want to give you guys a heads up. All right. Is that a dumbing down of what was in the documents? Absolutely. But the thing is, are we going to find out really why there was such a cover up? Who these people who were running away saying that we shot him, we got him, all that kind of jazz. I mean, if there truly is an innocent man behind bars for a crime he did not commit, my God. Okay, well then who did it? A bird goes tweet and an owl goes who? Who caused this pain and suffering? Now, I have my opinions on RFK Jr. and his policies, but the assassination of not only JFK, but RFK has forever scarred the American people. And I know how a lot of us feel about electoral politics, but let's just rewind back the feelings from the 1960s, 1970s, all this kind of stuff. You know, we saw the assassination of many key leaders, activists, civil rights leaders, people who were trying to make an impact. Now, I know everyone's human, and a lot of people got a lot of faults. And perhaps this is my weakness, my idealism, where I wonder what would happen if they were still around. Because overall, they did trigger and upset the powers that be. And if we look back at what happened with JFK, and then in turn with RFK, a nation was traumatized. Before the internet ever came into existence, before it was a thought, in front of our televisions, on the radio, in the newspaper, not one, but two people that were idolized, let's be clear, because they were removed. Maybe people put a lot of hope and aspirations into JFK, and in turn later on his brother RFK. Maybe there was a lot of that hope. And hope is a dangerous drug. But it's the cover-ups. People ask questions. Was our government involved? Who was involved? Who are the parties that be? And I'm seeing in the live stream chat that everyone is saying, yeah, that black marker is going to be busy. It's going to be busy. Let's continue on.
Senator Kennedy's assassination, saying that he had been assassinated, but that was before he was actually killed. So there are a lot of different questions. I think, in my view, these documents provide the background to more questions than answers. We'll see what the next 50,000 pages brings forward.
So there was somebody who gave you the threatening messages, wanted to take your life, and he's been arrested. Ali Kabar Muhammad Amin. Al-Kabar Muhammad Amin, 24 years old, from Georgia. He said to you to prepare to die, and to your husband, tell your wife basically to be loyal to Vladimir Putin and obey his orders. Your thoughts about his capture and the threat?
Yes, this is also a thing that recently happened. That Tulsi Gabbard did receive an assassination threat. Now, I will say this: I don't approve of anybody being threatened. And I sure as hell don't like where all of this is going, because I've been noticing a trend on social media. People are really getting angry out there. There's a lot of furious, enraged citizens in this country that I feel are at their breaking point. There's a little bit more on this. I want to play one other interview in which Tulsi Gabbard is talking about the RFK Jr. Not RFK Jr., RFK Senior files being released. Again, 10,000 pages are being released right now, and there's an additional 50,000. Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. Do you think the black marker is going to be busy? Type 1 for no, kid. Huh, how dare you? This time, things are going to be awesome. Black marker don't exist. It only exists in your mind. Type 2. No, black marker is going to be busy, baby.
Today's a big day. It is the first time we are releasing. The country will be able to see the documents that have been sitting here at the National Archives and Records Agency around the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Thanks to President Trump's leadership and his executive order mandating maximum transparency, we have had well over 100 people, some of whom you can see here, who have been working around the clock, going page by page, all to lead us to this day where the 10,000 pages that have been sitting here are now going to be available online at archives.gov/RFK.
So important. And this transparency is something that many Americans have been interested in. And so many Americans have been invested in the release of these files.
So today's release is 10,000 pages. Those are the ones that we had access to here. Just the other day, we discovered and found another 50,000 pages specifically related to the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. And so the work you're seeing happening here today is going to continue on as we have other teams going out and doing those searches and hunting for additional records that, once again, have not been found or released to the public ever before.
Well, we would love to look at some of these documents with you if you have time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This here is a file of the Department of Justice case file on Sirhan Sirhan, and it includes photographs and map of the Ambassador Hotel as they were conducting the investigation into the assassination. Over here we have records from the FBI.
So, I mean, in those files, I mean, like, yeah, it turns out he didn't do it, or did he do it, or he had accomplices. I mean, these are things we want to know. I am very curious to hear about from RFK Jr.'s response to this, because 10,000 pages, this is his own father, okay? I mean, the JFK files, everybody across the political spectrum is going to say, has been saying the same thing. Mediocre, just like what a Morton Joe said. Mediocre. The Jeffrey E. files, I still vomit in my brain when I look at how all those people on the White House lawn were jumping up pulling those files. My goodness, if I was in that crowd and I saw people do that, I first of all, I'd be disgusted. And second of all, I have to do an immediate live stream, be like, hey guys, I'm sorry. I had nothing to do with that. That was extremely gross. Jumping up for joy having the files, like, no. This is a very somber thing right here.
Boston field office, The FBI gave the investigation the code name of Kensal. And so part of this release includes some of those Kensal investigative records. And I know that there are many more to come.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, this has really shined a light on the need for more of these types of releases to occur. People will find in the release today, there's no quote unquote smoking gun, but there's a lot of interesting things.
I hope you heard that. No smoking gun, just a lot of interesting things. Like, hey, did you know Sirhan had a beef supreme taco before he went to the event? Did you know RFK Senior stubbed his toe? Like that kind of stuff. A lot of nothing. So hold on, we're gonna rewind that again. Rewind that again. See, this is why I love it when my audience gives me stuff, because I get notes from them too. This is why I love my audience.
Shined a light on the need for more of these types of releases to occur. People will find in the release today, there's no quote unquote smoking gun, but there's a lot of interesting things that have not been previously known that really call into question what really happened and
Wow.
who was behind it. If you look on this memo alone, you see Kuwait, London, Tel Aviv.
Hold on, Kuwait, London. What was the other place? I swear it sounds familiar.
Alone, you see Kuwait, London, Tel Aviv, Beirut, Jeddah.
One more time.
Behind it. If you look on this memo alone, you see Kuwait, London, Tel Aviv, Beirut, Jeddah, Tunis, Benghazi, Baida, all of these American embassies who were the recipients of this cable. People are going to have to go to the website and read for themselves to kind of get an insight onto what the conversations were like before and after Senator Kennedy's assassination.
What was your takeaway when you saw some of these top lines?
There are more questions than answers. Was there more than one shooter? What was the angle of the shots that were fired? There was a woman who ran away from the scene where Senator Kennedy was shot, screaming, "We shot him, we shot him." There's so much more ultimately that I think needs to be declassified and digitized so that anybody can access this and know what the government knows.
Then put all this in the shredder quickly. Am I being evil here? You know, maybe it's my own mind that's a little bit more paranoid here. Maybe I'm just trying to hold out the just try and understand this here, okay? But we do actually have a link so that all of you can see it for yourselves as well before we go back to the rest of the video. But here, this is from the National Archives. And we here at Heartlands Media do believe that you, our viewing audience, should have access to this. So I will be posting this right here and giving a link to it, not only in the YouTube chat. So there you go. So that way it's there and available for all of you to have. I'm going to pin this message so that way you can have it. Rumble people, you're going to have it as well. And yes, when I clip this segment, this link will also be available when I do clip it as well. So that way it is there for everybody to have in their possession, because we need to have some true transparency. And who knows, maybe whatever you're doing, you get to have some good reading material along the way, but we're getting nothing here. Put it all in the shredder then after you're done. That's Tulsi Gabbard probably giving that stare at death, like right there at that woman, back of the woman's head. Like, if you don't put this in the shredder, you're going in the shredder.
American taxpayers pay for this building. They deserve to know what's in it.
And you mentioned that you spoke with RFK Jr. about the release of these files. Is he aware of the developments with these and has interest in looking into these questions as well?
You know, he's obviously spent a lot of his life looking into what happened to his father. And so there's a lot of what's here that that he's already known or suspected. But, you know, when I asked him initially, I said, you know, do you want to review everything before it goes out, or do you have any concerns about the release? And his words were, you have to get it all out there. People need to see it.
I don't know. Maybe this is just me. Maybe it's only me. But, you know, if it was me, I'd want to see everything first, because if there truly is, and again, horrible choice of word here, no smoking gun, then okay, what's in the 50,000 pages then? Like, show us. Like, seriously. I mean, this is a lot of documentation. This is a lot of reading material. There's a lot of files here. I mean, 10,000 pages is no joke. Here we go again. I mean, this is breaking news. These 10,000 pages have been released, and then there's going to be an additional 50,000 pages released. Are we going to learn anything else? Well, Tulsi Gabbard just said there's no smoking gun.
These
Again, horrible choice of word there.
are completely unredacted with the exception of what the law requires, which is, social security numbers and other personally identifiable information. But I'm excited for us to be able to push this out and bring it out for the American people to see.
And let the sleuths do their thing.
So this is our specially protected holdings vault, where we store those records here at the National Archives that are most susceptible to theft or vandalism and that need to be protected and secured. Let's go ahead and start here at the end.
Yes, I have. Yes, I did. And not only in this video, not only will I post the Mike Tyson my commentary of the Mike Tyson RFK Jr. Commentary about RFK Sr.'s assassination, but I'll also be posting a link to that interview as well. So yes, I did. Yes, I most certainly did. This is why I love my audience. You guys and gals got memories. And that's why I respect you guys, because you guys don't mess around ever.
Most of what we're showing you relates to the assassination of President Kennedy. This is Lee Harvey Oswald's passport that he carried when he defected to the Soviet Union.
Why are we looking at this? Okay, like Lee Harvey Oswald's like, hey, I had nothing to do with RFK Sr., man. Come on. Why are you showing his passport?
And this is also his passport application.
Is that a baby?
His daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe you're familiar with the Zapruder film. This is the Zapruder camera.
Looks heavy.
It is. Don't drop it.
Oh crap. That was kind of like, don't drop it. Hold on.
Maybe you're familiar with
I'm
the
rewinding that.
Zapruder film. This is the Zapruder camera.
Looks heavy.
It is. Don't drop it.
She's like, don't drop it. Oh, it's a stare of death right there. Don't you drop it or you're done.
Oh. But you guys are glad you don't have to use these kind of things.
So we have here, if you'd like to see it, we do have the shirt that Oswald had on when he was shot.
Oh, come on, man. You gonna show Oswald's shirt when he got shot?
These significant moments in history, the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, of Martin Luther King Jr., a lot of this has been shrouded in mystery for most of our lifetimes. And so this transparency of being able to take these documents, scan them in, and make it so that people can read them with a click of a button is important. It's important to the country, and it's important in our continued search for the truth and building trust in our government.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. That's not happening. That's not happening at all. So listen, folks, I'll be posting those 2 YouTube videos as well as the link to the National Archives in the description box, as well as in the pin it in the comments section as well. This is a rather fascinating and breaking news event, but already right off the bat, I am preparing myself for a whole lot of this. Hold on, folks. A whole lot of nothing. All right, Teddy G, you said it best that this is such a photo op bullshit show. I mean, I'm already like, I'm holding my breath for the 50K files that are going to be released soon. I hope we learn something more important there. But as it's been brought out and pointed out by many other people on social media, the individuals who could have or might have been responsible not only for the removal of JFK, RFK Sr., and MLK are either deceased, changed their identity, gone into hiding, or senile and so old that they have no presence whatsoever, or hey, maybe, again, as said before, they're all deceased and gone. And they covered their tracks, everything's been shredded, everything's been burnt, everything's been chopped up, everything's been buried. If we're expecting open transparency, like the secrets, Like the big secrets aren't being revealed. So this has all been a nothing burger, possibly. Perhaps maybe in the next wave of files, there will be more interesting details to come out. But if you've been covering up a story for so long, there's reasons why there was so much secrecy. There was reasons why things were covered up. There's a lot of questions. Things don't add up. I'll end this on a note again with my idealism. I do have to wonder what kind of world we would have if these people did not get removed. What would things be like? And of course, I have been correctly called out by other people saying, well, gee, Kit, if you really look back at the history, MLK wasn't popular. A lot of people hated MLK. A lot of people didn't like RFK and his elder brother, JFK. They've been lionized and turned into something that they're not. They've been turned into untouchable deities that are now loved and promoted. Back in the day, they were all hated. But I do wonder what the world would be like, how things would be. Maybe it would be better, or maybe it would still be the same. One has to wonder. But the one thing that is always and should always upset all of you is the amount of secrecy, the cover-up, the reasons and why things played out the way they did, and why most of this has been hidden from us. We have to know, and we have a right to know. Now, I'm going to be checking out the National Archives, seeing it so far. When the video was playing, I was scrolling through some of the files to see if the black marker was busy. Haven't found anything yet, but I'm sure a lot of us got some reading to do, which is why I posted in the live stream chat, which is why I'm going to be posting in the comment section and the description box for this clip video. We got a lot of reading to do over the weekend, but as Tulsi said, there's no smoking gun. Horrible choice of word there.